Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel here. I'm Joey Only up in Wells, British Columbia, 3,935 feet above sea level, 53 degrees north. This is a bit of a weather forecast for the province of British Columbia into the weekend that is incoming. We have a band of snow that is going to move through into the south. Well, right now it's hitting pretty hard up in the north. We have a snowfall warning up in Fort Nelson area for maybe 25 centimeters. But for those of us down here, no warnings or anything like that. Just a band of snow that could make things slippery that maybe you should be aware of on Thursday. Anyhow, then the temperatures are going to dip what I can only describe as a violent Arctic plunge for areas east of the Rockies. We will get some of that. It may drop temperatures down to freezing near the coastal areas. However, we are getting spared. It will not last very long and will not be near as bad for us as it is for other places. So this is not, it's a bit of a cold drop, but I wouldn't call it really, I don't think, it's not the winter we could have had, like we've had those minus 30s before, and I just don't think we have very much of that coming into southern British Columbia. No. So we're getting lucky, I think, this weekend, but we'll look at all the details for you right now. No politics aside. Politics is now only going to be in my The Bad News show. You can watch that today where I give some thoughts on Doug Ford and some thoughts on his stance on against America. Anyways, this is the Bad News Weather Show. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything can happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They dry mopping this. Joey on the Caribou Weather Dude here. You can definitely tell that the actions to the north of us today, this skies give me the impression that we will see a little bit of that snowfall in Wells. Just a little bit foggy this afternoon too. Some humidity in the air. And here's Kenny, who's just totally stoked. He wants to grab that stick, but he doesn't realize it's part of the ground, and it's not just a random stick. It's not a stick, it's a root. Kind of. You'll find something else. Yeah, not too bad. Nice warm temperatures again today. Won't last, I guess. Got a bit of a cold spell coming, but not crazy compared to what they'll be seeing further east of us over the Rockies. So a pretty nice day here in Wells, BC altogether. And there's Kenny having a dump. Now, yeah, how's that for you, buddy? Yeah, nice deck of cloud to the north. All right, we'll have a look at today's weather so far in the continent, what's been going on out there. And we'll start east. We'll start out in the Atlantic there. You can see lots of lightning out in the bottom end of that storm there. Got a big, you call that a nor'easter there, mid-latitude cyclone out in the Atlantic Ocean. Lots of lightning there south of there. As you can see, if you move over, there has been a bit of disturbances in Ontario. They've been having, again, their lake effect snow stories going on for them there. Seeing things being just a little warmer in the prairies as that nice low is starting to move in, and it's going to reform into Alberta. That's going to help them for a little bit. We can see the next one off the coast there by the tip of the Aleutian Islands, and we can see another one after that with a very strong, so it's like a continuous river of moisture out there, and that's what's going to keep temperatures moderated for us in the long run here in British Columbia while everyone else suffers, but we'll talk about that as we get to that. But first, let's have a look at the snow story that's going on right now. That low pressure now moving into northern British Columbia. You can see that tail, a little bit of a, well, you might consider an atmospheric river. However, it's not stalling in one place. It's moving up and down the fire hose and distributing its moisture fairly evenly, although dumping lots of it in some of these places nonetheless. So some very, very intense snowfall going on up there. Northern BC seeing lots of snow right now. Southern pretty dry for you down there in southern BC. Lots of snow up there. Lots and lots of snow. So that's what we're watching go tonight. We're going to watch how this makes its way out to Fort Nelson. If you're not getting your snow now, you should be very, very soon, Fort Nelson. By the time this video comes out, maybe even there, north coast, just south of Terrace. Seeing really, really heavy rain in the low country, really, really heavy snow in the high country. That low broadening itself out overnight, really making its way over to Alberta where they have snowfall warnings there too. Could see a little bit of freezing rain in the bottom end of that. Snowfall warnings going right over towards almost Fort McMurray, I guess, and into Saskatchewan as well. Now you can see a little bit of that snow moving into southern BC. There's that more organized band that kind of takes off around 6 a.m. and that's just in time to make commuting a little bit messy for you while Fort McMurray is now heavily in the the snow up there, and a bit of a warm sector near Edmonton. Could see some rain for you there. Maybe in the mountains there near Vernon. Watching cold temperatures in behind this, a little bit cooler in behind because you got the flow of the counterclockwise motion of that low now, that prairie system. That's what's helping bring the temperatures up for the prairies. They've been sitting, having some cold weather. They're going to see some very, very cold weather very, very soon. There you go. By the afternoon now, all the way down into the Kootenays, maybe seeing some flurries. So I don't think this is going to be very, very large snow. We can see what the totals will be here in a little bit. But I'm not suspecting that we're going to see a lot of snow there. But that's enough to make travel necessarily messy and nasty for those of you. And if you're in northern Alberta, northern Saskatchewan, obviously looking pretty gross for you. That Alberta Clipper now moving into Manitoba already by the afternoon on Friday. So it's going to make a big jump. It's going to jump from northern BC to Manitoba in the next 24 to 36 hours. And by that time, that should help bring some snow back around for southern parts of the prairies. However, in behind that is going to be the temperature, and we'll look at those temperatures here in a second, but those temperatures are going to be spilling all the way down the continent, and you can already see how that setup is going to help things steer down those isobars down the backside of this low, how its counterclockwise motion is helping to, and there's nothing really down here except another low that's connecting with it, so that's going to help drag temperatures down. Ontario gets their chance for snow next, but we're already seeing what's that going to look like. Well, we'll get through a couple days and we'll revisit temperatures in a couple days, not in a couple days, but relative to what we're watching here. You know, when we get through watching the weekend where the snow is going, we'll come back and look at the cold. But you can already get the impression how that high pressure is developing in behind that low, and that high pressure, that cold, that's starting to stream down in from the Arctic. That's going to make its way down far in the United States by the time it's done. And Alberta now being the only one really seeing that snow in the west. By this time, Ontario, northern Ontario, that low moving across into Quebec by Friday afternoon. So in time for the weekend, you're going to see that make itself a bit of a maritime storm, and we'll soon depart from this graphic, but I do want to just poke here quickly. There's not going to be much snow after this for BC, so we're going to jump ahead and just sort of look at how that high pressure develops, and we'll watch how that cold now streams down. You can see that storm bringing Atlantic conditions. Wow, that is beautiful. Here comes that cold all the way down into Texas, all the way down to Mexico maybe. We'll see about that still yet in the coming days. Whatever that's going to do, that's going to make for more Santa Ana winds in California. Look at this cold into Colorado, minus 32. Unbelievable. Northern Ontario into the 34s, even Texas, even a little bit of Mexico seeing minus temperatures. That will make a big-time storm for them. So that's going to be a big-time story, I think, in the coming week. For people down in the United States, they're going to have places that have not used to seeing snow getting a lot of snow, getting a really, really big bad storm. But anyways, we're here to talk about the cold next in British Columbia. So let's just rewind a little bit, and we'll go back to Thursday night at midnight and see where things are at. Temperature-wise in the continent, you can see most of that cold at this time is sitting up into Nunavut and some of the Northwest Territories. And if we head to Friday mid-afternoon, we'll look at where temperatures are at. Now, northern BC starting to see some of that cold already. And you'll find by the time you get to Friday evening, already in Fort Nelson, now you've seen a big temperature shift. Now you've gone from having record warm temperatures to, below seasonal. I don't know if this will break your records. You're probably pretty used to minus 29, 30 up there by now. However, we're looking at, if you were almost minus plus 10 the other day, whatever the official record will stand at, you could see up to a 40-degree temperature shift in the next 2 days or so, right? So down the Rocky Mountains, looking at pretty cold, I'm sure, up at the mountaintops too. I'm sure that'll include higher elevations around here, like even Wells. If I zoom into where Wells is, it looks like a bit of a cold blob in the Caribou Mountains, so we'll see about that. But overnight Friday, first taste of cold air in northern BC. Prince George, maybe by the morning. We'll click off into 2D so we get all the temperature numbers on here. Maybe by the morning seeing minus 20 for you already. So maybe a chilly start to Saturday for you in Prince George. We'll hit play on tape now, and we'll look across the bigger picture, but already by then, Saturday morning, minus 30s, moving their way into Saskatchewan. Fort McMurray, extremely cold, high level. Saw minus 36 there, I think, for a second. We are getting lucky, but 15s for Prince George, minus 9 during the day in Williams Lake, minus 10. So this is going to be colder than maybe we've seen during the daytime for some of us. But then again, you look over to Edmonton, Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, some of these places that are going to be seeing Fort McMurray, high level. There's a 35 there again, looking at you for Saturday night. So that is extremely, extremely cold, while Williams Lake, 17s, 18s, doesn't look too bad. Cache Creek's minus 15 overnight. We're looking at midnight hours, 3 in the morning, something like that. We're seeing Vernon at minus 12, Penticton minus 10, Tulameen, is that a minus 19 down there? Wow, Lillooet minus 19. So yeah, some of these places you may see very isolated regions that have one temperature, micro regions, one temperature. Just have a look. Minus 19 here, and if you maybe go up the road a little ways, minus 16s. You may see some real variation in what people get based on just how the cold air moves in, where it sits in, and what if this is happening. Seems to think that the east side of the Coast Mountains will get pretty cold. If that happens, then Vancouver down to 0, not out of the question for Saturday morning. Abbotsford at minus 1, not out of the question. Of course, you'll warm up during the day again a little bit. By 1 o'clock, you're already well above 0, but still chilly temperatures up in the Caribou on Sunday afternoon. 13s, 11s, 18s. These are closer to seasonal in a lot of cases. Closer to seasonal, maybe just a touch below seasonal. But, it's like I'm making a forecast here. I'm telling you it's going to be colder than you're used to, but it's just what you're used to should be normal most of the time. Here's a spike on Monday that we may see Sunday night into Monday morning. Some of that high pressure as it slides down give us even chillier temperatures. So that's what we'll be looking at to the weekend. But then, hey, look, the warm-up is already starting pretty quickly. By Monday afternoon, you're back up above 0 in Fort Nelson. Why is that? Well, because next round of storms, maybe. Well, there's a bit of a flow there. There is one coming. Doesn't look like we have a lot, though, in store for BC for snow next week. We do have better temperatures than what other people are seeing in other parts of the continent. So prepare ourselves for maybe a couple cold nights ahead. And let's have that last look at snowfall totals. Where are we expecting to see? So I go on here. We're just going to stretch this out until Friday night and have a look. Because already by Saturday morning it's gone. So you're seeing some patches of larger snow up in the Fort Nelson area. ECMWF doesn't seem to agree with Environment Canada that you'll get 25 centimeters, but they said 15 to 25 centimeters. So, throughout your region, you're going to see a larger snowfall, yeah. Most of the snow now in the mountains around Terrace has subsided, yet there's still a fair bit to go. But we're not seeing at least hundreds anymore when we look at that. No. A little bit of snow, a little bit of flurries down through on Thursday. Yeah, 3.5 centimeters. Some of that might fall as rain in some places at times too. But be wary that on Thursday, tomorrow, as you're driving, you may find yourself into some slippery conditions. Nothing crazy, nothing major, just a band of snow moving on through the province. Okay, that's all I got for tonight, I think, because I'm just going to keep it short. Already said lots today, so hit like, share, subscribe, become a Patreon member, join the channel, and tomorrow night on the live stream, the podcast, we have, of course, everybody, Frankie McDonald, everybody as per usual, but this time, Mark and Chris are down at meteorologist Mark and Chris Calais, 2 meteorologists we got there in the panel. They are down at the American Meteorological Society conference that's happening in Louisiana right now, down in New Orleans. So we have all kinds of live reports that are going to happen from them down there on the street, and we're going to have a bunch of reports that they made, interviews with different meteorologists. Some of those you may have seen already on my other videos this week as a teaser, but it's going to be a very, very good show. And after talking all this smack against America today, I guess the least I can do is say to my American friends how much I love them and feature them tomorrow night in our podcast. Okay, that's me for today. Bye, everybody.